Hey everybody, it's Dave from Table Slayer, and today I'm going to be talking about grids and how Table Slayer fixes its grid, how that relates to maps that might already have grids on it. So right now I've got a map here that's loaded up. If we go and look at it, you'll see that it's got grid lines on it already. Now, typically you could just use this map as is. I have Table Slayer's actual grids opacity set all the way to 0 so that you can't see its grid, and this would just be a way to load that up on your table. The bad part about this is that Table Slayer, unlike most virtual tabletops, is actually meant to be used on a physical space, right? A television. And so we have no way of knowing the grid that's drawn on here and at the scale that we have, whether that's going to fit 1 by 1 inch squares so that we can put our miniatures on it. So what we've done is added some new features where if you have a map, where you have grids on it, typically what you'd need to do is you try and scale it and try to get it as close as you could. You'd move it around, and this was always just a mess and kind of a gamble. But if you come in and now say map defined, you can actually set the size of a grid. So for example, I know this map is 26 by 18. And I know that because that's what the artist told, or I could go through and count it. There's now a button that says auto fit to grid, and then what you'll see is that map now is automatically fitting to the Table Slayer grid. And I can show that by just taking the opacity down, and you can see that the baked in grid lines are actually there. So now you have just a one-click button for things that will line stuff up. If you did need to move your map around, like for example, if the map was too large, you can now actually use Shift and the arrow keys to move that map around. Now in this case, it's got enough space so that you can fill it within the amount of space that's there, but sometimes you'll end up with larger maps. And I'm going to show off like a bigger one here. So this one's Pirate King Base 30 by 60. So we're going to go ahead and create a new scene with this. Because the file name said 30 by 60 in it, when it jumps and loads up this grid, you're going to see that it's already changed itself to map defined and says 60 by 30. So it's going to take the larger side, put it on the horizontal, because that's what a TV is, right? It's a horizontal landscape view. Now, if we zoom in here, you might have noticed that these grid lines are not perfect. They're a little bit off. And if we zoom all the way over here, you'll see the reason why. So the artist had a little bit of bleed on it. Now, luckily their image is still 1 by 1. They're using 1 by 1 units. It just has a little bit of offset, and we can still come through and just, using our shift key, we can move around till we get our alignment exactly right. So at this point, we now have a map that's perfectly aligned, and it's not going to fit 60 squares in here, which is why you're seeing the bleed. There's still a lot of map that's down here. And there's nothing that Table Slayer can do about that because your TV can't magically grow in size. We always need to be showing those, that 30 by the amount of squares to make it 1 by 1. But again, we can use AutoFit at any time if we wanted to use that movement. So if we wanted to pan it all the way up because we want to use this part of the map, we could. And then again, you can do your precision movements, but now you can do it knowing that the grid sizes are actually what they need to be. Anyways, this was a really hard feature to build. One reason is because it means that we're plotting grids on different parts, and it means things like markers now need to work in both modes. So if we switch over, for example, to that fill space mode, we need to make sure that these fit on that grid. Anyways, pretty good feature. You can check it out on Table Slayer now. I'll see you all.